Now I want us to go straight and begin to make researches concerning the 12. Let us go straight and begin to make researches concerning the 12. We are going to go to the book of Genesis chapter number 8 verse 4 and chapter number 8 verse 5 to 7. We are going to go to the book of Genesis chapter number 49 verse number 29 to 31. The first book of Genesis chapter number 8, that are the two references that I made, is because, like I said in one of my videos, these people we are looking at, there are places that name was mentioned as in a kind of where we need to go and look for them, or where they are particularly supposed to be found. For instance, Noah in the book of chapter number 8 of Genesis, verse number 4, made mention of Ararat, Mountain Ararat. So when we want to look for ourselves, we have to go to Mountain Ararat. We have to go to Mountain Ararat. Then this ark, which is the ark of the house of Israel, containing the house of Israel. In the book of Genesis chapter number 8, there was a place this ark rested on. So if we can go there and find the ark, and we'll be able to interpret the documented or the later side of the scripture on that place. Then we can be able to as well discover ourselves. Then when we go to the book of Genesis chapter number 49, verse number 29 till 31, sorry. And Genesis chapter number 50, verse 13. And Genesis chapter number 15, verse number 8. We will begin to find out that there are places like Ephron, Macaphala, Mamre, Ephron, Macaphala, Mamre, that Father Abraham, the patriarch, even Isaac and Jacob, later went back, as in when they died in Lagos, or when they died in Nigeria, there was a place they ordered their children to make sure that they get them back to and bury them. Even to the point of, as if that wasn't enough, they told their children emphatically when they were alive that at all costs that they must make sure they went back to that place. And of course, till today, if there is no other tribe I can make mention of, I am very sure that the Igbo tribes, Isekiris, Mbembem, Amampoto, all the rest of them from south and southeastern Nigeria would hardly bury anybody who is up to 18 years in Lagos State, in Abuja, in whatever that is outside the southern and southeastern Nigeria. They are very fond of taking their corpse, the corpse of a son. Even some people out of pride doesn't mind not even burying their 5-year-old baby within either Lagos or western states, or call it northern states of Nigeria, for instance. We still have it as a culture, but many times every other tribe can compromise. But not an Igbo man or anybody from the side of the rivers. That's by the way. We are looking out for something. We will keep going on. There are also places that the Bible made mention of, and some of the places that we need to find ourselves. They call it Euphrates. Some Bible portion call it River Euphrates. Whenever it is mentioned, it is always coming with either just Euphrates or River Euphrates. Some Bible scripture will tell you Great River Euphrates. These are some of the places where we are commanded to go in and possess the land, where some of us, some scriptures said we should be left alone to come out from that place and exercise some element of job that has been commissioned in our hand, especially for the job of the 12. Then there is another place called Ephraim. Ephraim was a place. Ephraim was a place that Christ himself ran to and went back to as a country, not as a city, and continue his work with his disciples, and no longer coming to publicly again, especially when they began to sought him to kill him. And that place is found in the book of John, chapter number 11, particularly verse number 54. But to make things a little more clearer, and for also for certain reasons, when I want to read, I will read from chapter number 11, from verse number 49 to 54. There are also places that these Israelites were encamping, were close to, were inhabiting during the time they were in the wilderness. That Bible made mention of. We will also look into those places to know where those places are, the attribute of those places, and who are the people in those places. He made mention of Feha Herod. He also made mention of Migdol. He also made mention of Baal-Zephon. These are some of the 3 places he made mention. And having said that, before I open the scripture and we begin to look at it together, I want to tell you that there is also what we call an abstract locational geography. It does exist. But when we go through this and we make mention of the attributes and characters and characteristics of those places being mentioned, then we will begin to look out on details concerning the locational geography, the astronomical locational geography. Then we begin to kind of realize ourselves and find out who we are. Let me tell you something. I can bet you that sincerely, not just now, since centuries ago, many people in the world, many scholars and many kings, tongues, and prophets and prophetesses, almost the way it is filled and littered everywhere in the scripture, knew exactly where the Jew, the 12th tribe of the house of Israel are. Many people know particularly that they are in Nigeria being sieged. as a matter of conspiracy, not as a matter of particularly we don't know how to say it. Though also it has been fused to be like this by God himself because of the end time. Because what I'm telling you have connections to deliver the Christians all over the world. There is a connectivity. There is how this thing is being fused. But I want to tell you that before now, even though they cannot be able to finish and do what it is in it, but at least to say it wouldn't have removed anything. I tell you that more than hundreds or thousands of people have known since decades ago that the 12 tribes of the house of Israel are the people called the South and the southeastern part of Nigeria. If you like, you can call it the Igbos. And for obvious truths, some scratch of even the Yorubas. I am not lying, I will give you details. Some scratch of the part of Edos. I'm just telling you these things. In fact, because this is time, this is just the time. I feel that God has programmed these things to be like this for certain reasons that I will still tell you. I'm not mistaking my mind, please. I'm not talking in riddles, please. If you go to the book of Jeremiah chapter number 13. Yeah, if you read from verse number 1 to 7, you will see something. But if you will be able to have patience and read the complete verse of Jeremiah chapter number 13, you are going to find out that that place was laying emphasis how our life is going to be after this time if we refuse to listen exactly to some of these things that I've been laying emphasis on. If we refuse to listen to make sure that our self-discovery is happening fast and also is happening within this time. In fact, between now and January, if possible. The scripture there in the book of Jeremiah chapter number 13 is laying emphasis that, just like I was saying, that not again will you able to mention Biafra in your mouth again. After a certain time now, if we didn't act fast and act wisely. Just like I said in one of my videos, I wouldn't know and would not mind if you want to call me an anti-Ipob. In fact, maybe that will guarantee me the popularity that I actually needed so far as this job is concerned. You can call me an anti-Ipob. I keep laying emphasis and keep opening my mouth wide to say to you that he is the last person that we could ever imagine to win elections, because it is to our own detriment. In fact, as soon as it happens, you will begin to die. You begin to die physically and you begin to die spiritually. Go and check the book of Jeremiah chapter number 13. You can hardly escape it again. You have more or less crushed yourself. There are many times I will say we are playing games, just like what I've tried to, or some of the objections I've tried to clear here. Many people will, why is this guy talking like this? What kind of game is this? Please, I beg. If you want to talk, you talk. If you don't want to talk, you go home and sleep. Stop wasting our time with this your game, this, that. And from the way you even talk about it, we don't know whether it is joke here that you are trying to crack jokes, or whether you are trying to frighten the people, or you understand. But the truth is, I'm more serious than any other person. And what I'm telling you is more serious. When you go to the book of Jeremiah, chapter number 13, you find out that completely. You can hardly escape it again. I told us that when this thing happened, forget about it. It's like an experiment that has been given to you. A kind of, should I say, rephrased referendum packaged and thrown to you. If you ever fail it, you are doomed forever. And you will live to witness it. And some of us will live to witness it. Though it's too hard, I can't pray for such prayer, and it will not happen, of course. Because I would have said, had it been, we can just give it a kind of experiment, a kind of hypothesis, let it happen for some days so that we can see. But there are some kind of prayer one couldn't pray. Because as soon as you pray it and if it comes to pass, that be it. Forget about it. So having said that, I want to say we are going to open scripture and see verbally the way it sounds. The instructions or the later verbatim of how some of these places I mentioned to you were mentioned. Why? Where? When? So that we begin to realize who we are. Like I told us, I said, people know where we are. But, in fact, many people know that the 12 tribes we are talking about, like I said, is in Nigeria, the south, and the southeast part of it, or part of her. Some part of the Yorubas, some part of the Edos. Let me tell you the truth. The Yorubas, many of those Yoruba Christians, some of them are the attributes of the tribe of Joseph and Ephraim. And some of the those, like I always say, I wouldn't say what I will not be able to defend and discuss and bring a digestive and interesting teaching to it. But when the time comes, keep hearing it like this. There are so many other places we are scattered abroad. For instance, some of our tribes are still in Iraq. I'm telling you honestly before God and man. Many places in Africa like the Congo, some of the Congolese are the 12 tribes. They are among the 12 tribes of the house of Joseph. Zimbabweans. Many tribes within Africa are part of this thing I'm telling you. But the only thing is that there are so many places that you get to, you find them just in 2 tribes, in 3, at maximum in 4. But conspicuously, it has been in Nigeria, the southern side and the southern eastern part of Nigeria, that the whole complete 12 tribes of the house of Jacob has been hidden and sealed. And I tell you that people know about this and they cannot say it for one reason or the other. And so many of those reasons are for selfish interest. But let me tell you this. Until when we get there, you begin to find out what I'm talking about. Let it be. I want to thank you once again for always listening. The next video, I'm going to open the scripture and we begin to look at those places I have mentioned. Thank you so much.